I think the biggest challenge is getting stories that are relevant. Often what seems relevant around a boardroom table doesn't live on the street. I think as marketers we talk in terms of intrinsics and features and benefits. What consumers are looking for is just exciting news. So you can take something that is researched very well and that holds up in terms of a strong argument in terms of strategic thinking, but it might be completely redundant on the street. So what you've actually got to do is you've actually got to get the consumer to tell you what the benefits or features are before you take that message back into the market. What we do at Instant Grass is we have a product called Hot Housing, where we give the product to the consumer for 2 weeks, completely cold. We don't tell them any marketing features or benefits. We give it to them to live with. They then decide what is relevant to them in terms of the benefits in their lives. We then discuss that with the client, saying this is what the boardroom says, this is what the street says, together which is the most relevant message to take back into the market. So for the first time the consumer is actually at the beginning of that marketing message, which is great because the relevance is automated.
There's a lot of great, viral word-of-mouth campaigns which are out there. I think the ones that work the best is always when there's been a great investment in content based on insight and what the consumer is interested in. I mean, I think the early campaigns of Subversion Chicken for Kentucky Fried Chicken was so funny that the word was, it was very new, I think, in those days. It was basically so interesting and humorous that people really talked about it and sent the link to the site through to all kinds of friends. The BMW films was also, I think in 2001, that campaign which launched a website with 6 movies that BMW developed. Great movies, 8-minute movies in a time when broadband wasn't in the US around as it is in these days. So it was a long time for people to download those movies, but they were so great in content that people were willing to spend that time to download them. And I think 94% of them send that link through to friends of them. So I think all those examples show when there's great content that people are willing to talk about it.
The major keys to success when doing word-of-mouth viral marketing is keep it simple. Do not try and do too much with too much information. Simple message. If you're trying to influence people on petrol price savings, only concentrate on that, for example. Don't mix in it with the safety of a metal chassis. Don't mix it in with getting there quickly. Keep it very precise. Save petrol, buy a 2-wheeler. Preferred choice, Vespa. So to answer the question, simple and let the action do the talking.
The viral campaign that we did for Indesit was called the Jack the Cuckoo campaign, and basically what the agency did together of course with Indesit was develop a whole bunch of movies, video clips about a bird which was called Jack the Cuckoo, who lived in a cuckoo's house, but didn't like the whole aspect of time. So when he was supposed to come out of his house to tell time, he didn't come out of the house because he was doing all kinds of other crazy stuff like partying or shooting other cuckoos and things like that. And the reason why it was Jack the Cuckoo, it had something to do with time, was because a new range of dishwashers and washing machines that Indesit launched was all about freeing you up from time, allowing you to create customizable cycle programs for your dishwasher and washing machines. So they developed these movies which they've sent to a whole range of people, of customers of Indesit and prospects of Indesit through email. They did a banner campaign too. And when people discovered these movies, they thought they were so funny. And by the way, on the website, they could also find screensavers and wallpapers and ringtones and a little desk mate, which you actually could install on your computer. And it was Jack the Cuckoo that every time when a little new meeting was notified to you through your calendar, it shut the little meeting notice, because again he doesn't like anything which has to do with time. And that content was so rich. It seems like a huge leap from what the product was about. But with that time connection which was in there, that campaign was so well done, so funny, so rich, so entertaining, that just consumers spread the word.
The key essentially to the success of a good word of mouth campaign is relevance. And that relevance is relevance of both the content and of the people who are sending that message. You have to have the right people telling the right stories. If you have a lack of credibility on either part of the sender or the actual message itself, the whole project can be diffused. So get people who are willing to actually be true advocates of your message, not paid or solicited, not contrived, but people who are genuinely interested in the product, and give them a nice sticky story. So it's the relevant or the weight of that content that is absolutely critical. I guess it's storytelling in its purest form, to get people to tell stories that are relevant to the consumer. And what makes a good story? Well, you just have to look at any of the Hollywood blockbusters or the top 10 books or DVDs to realize what good storytelling is all about.
I think a great example of a SMS application, they did a Valentine's campaign where they basically, when you got your telephone rang, and when you picked up, you heard a large and delicious kiss sound coming through your phone. And I think that was sponsored by Hershey's, and it was so basically about sending you chocolate kisses, because I believe that's a product that they have. And you could actually send then that kiss to somebody else. So it was appropriate because it was Valentine's, it was appropriate for the brand because they have a product like that, and it was wonderful for the consumers to do, because sending basically through mobile phones just a wonderful and delicious whatever kiss sound, which I won't try to do, is just a great thing to get on Valentine's Day. So I think digital media allow people to share easier, and as such I think it's an important thing to use.